Today, we're going to be putting two tool changers head to head to find out which one is best for you. On the left, we have the Snapmaker U1, and on the right, we have the Flashforge Creator 5 Pro. There's a lot to cover today, so without any further ado, let's get started. While I unbox the two printers, I want to answer the question, why would you want a tool changer in the first place? Well, the most popular reason is probably multicolor printing. If you've ever used an AMS style system, you already know that every color change means purging filament, which takes time and creates a surprising amount of waste. With the tool changer, each color has its own dedicated hot end, so instead of constantly flushing filament, the printer simply swaps tools. This makes color changes dramatically faster and wastes far less material. To see just how big of a difference that is, my good friend Tiger 3D Printing is going to print some of the test prints on a printer without a tool changer, so we'll be able to compare. In short, with the tool changer, since each material gets its own dedicated hot end, there's no contamination between materials, no need to constantly purge, and filament swaps are both faster and less wasteful than other printers. Sounds pretty good, right? With that out of the way, let's take a closer look at our two contenders. The Snapmaker U1 is a bit larger, boasting a build volume of 270 by 270 by 270, compared to the Creator 5 Pro's 256 millimeters cubed. Both printers have 4 different tool heads, but on the Creator 5 Pro, the hot ends are rated for a max temperature of 320 degrees. In comparison, on the U1, the hot ends only go up to 300 degrees. A similar story with the bed as well. On the Flashforge, the bed has a max of 120 degrees compared to 100 degrees on the U1. For complete transparency, both of these printers were provided free of charge from their respective companies so that I could make this video. Both printers are Core XY, with the U1 using carbon fiber rods on X and the Creator 5 Pro using a linear rail. Both printers use standard hardened steel rods and linear bearings for the Y-axis. Both printers also include cameras for live monitoring of prints and also recording time lapses. The Creator 5 Pro comes with a dedicated chamber heater as well as an enclosure for printing filament like ABS and ASA, whereas the U1 does not. There is a separate enclosure kit available for the U1, but the printer doesn't come with it by default. I think that's enough about the specs. Now it's time to finally print some stuff. I'm starting off this video with a variety of single color prints to compare print quality. The U1 came with 4 500-gram rolls of PLA, and the Creator 5 Pro came with 4 1-kilogram spools. I'll be using this filament for my PLA test prints. We have the Humble 3D Benchy, a Voron Cube, and a part for the Monolith Gantry. Looking at these parts close up, I think you'd be hard-pressed to notice a difference between the two printers. It looks like the U1 is pulling ahead a bit in terms of part cooling. It's just a bit droopy looking on the Creator 5 Pro. I also went ahead and did a vertical find artifact, or VFA test, just the one that's built into Orca Slicer. On the U1, across a variety of different angles, the VFAs seem more prominent across a range of different speeds. On the Flashforge, the VFAs are really noticeable at slower speeds, but do tend to drop off as you print faster. Even still, the VFAs are definitely evident on both printers. Now, I didn't get tool changers just to do single color prints, so let's go load up some more filament. On the U1, filament loading is basically automatic. You put the spool on the printer, run it through the feeder, and it does the rest for you. If you're using Snapmaker brand filament, the printer can even recognize the color and material that you loaded. In contrast, the Flashforge uses a much more manual approach. You push the filament in until you feel it stop. You do need to hold the lever down on the tool head for the filament to go in all the way. You also need to manually assign a material and a color to the filament that you just loaded. We're starting off small with a dual color benchy, and Tiger is going to be following along as well. This is where I had my first problem with the Flashforge. It looks like the tool head skipped steps while printing the bow, and that knocked the tool heads out of alignment. You can see here that there's a gap between the red filament and the rest of the hull. The alignment issue becomes much easier to see if I print a tower with 4 different colors. Tools 2, 3, and 4 are all perfectly aligned, but 1 is off by about 0.5 millimeter. The good news is this is easy to fix. If you go into the Movement tab, hit Calibrate, then you can find Extruder Position Calibration at the very bottom. The printer will guide you through the process of manually moving the tool head over to each tool, and then it will align them. And after doing this, everything was aligned perfectly. Overall, this was a bit of a weird situation, but I haven't had any other issues with the printer skipping steps, even after 100 hours of printing. As expected, the second Benchy looked much better, again, practically identical to the Benchy on the U1. In terms of speed, the two printers are basically equal as well. On the single color test prints, they finished within a minute of each other. And this isn't really a surprise, because if you look at the stock slicer profile of each machine, you will see that they're almost identical. Layer heights and line widths are all the same, and the speeds are almost the exact same. Print speeds are one thing, but we also need to consider how long it takes to swap tools. Let's take a look at the Creator 5 Pro and time exactly how long it takes. That's 15 seconds and 27 frames, or 15.9 seconds to swap. And now, the same thing on the U1. The U1 seems to spend more time purging filament than the Flashforge, and that difference means it actually takes just over 17 seconds to swap. So for every tool change, the U1 is about 1 second slower than the Flashforge. This doesn't sound like a lot, and I mean, it really isn't a lot, but over the course of a large print with potentially thousands of tool changes, you might start to notice a difference. The U1 was about 6 minutes faster on the dual color Benchy. Tiger is also following along, printing a dual color Benchy on his Cobra 4. You can see here just how slow the filament changes are in comparison. Not to mention all of the extra waste. All in all, his Benchy took 5 hours, just about 3 times slower than the Toolchangers. I also decided to test the maximum volumetric flow rate of the hot ends in each printer. With PLA at 220 degrees, the U1 capped out at about 24 cubic millimeters per second, whereas the Creator 5 Pro topped out around 26 to 27. That's about a 10% higher flow rate on the Flashforge. Next up, I want to try a true multi-material print. Discord user Petch showed me these super cool looking multi-material pliers, and I just knew I had to test them out. I'm using Snapmaker PLA again, as well as this TPU. I don't know the exact shore hardness of this stuff, so I just used the generic TPU profile for both printers. Both printers did a great job here. Everything printed without issue. The TPU sticks really well to PEI plates, so be careful when removing the parts. The pliers printed on the Creator 5 Pro were a little bit stringy, especially the TPU parts in the very middle. I did dry both rolls of TPU before printing, so there might be some wiggle room to tune the retractions on the Creator 5 Pro. Both pairs of pliers are 100% functional, and let me tell you, these things are a ton of fun to use. Next up, I want to try printing ABS. Before we continue with the comparison, this video is sponsored by PCBWay. If you need custom metal parts, they're a great one-stop shop. Whether it's complex geometries made with SLM metal 3D printing, or CNC machine components from aluminum, steel, titanium, and so much more. I've been super impressed with the quality of the parts that I've received, and believe me, it's much easier than making every part yourself. If you've got a project that needs professional quality metal parts, be sure to check out PCBWay with my link below. Thanks again to PCBWay for continuing to support the channel, and now back to the video. As I mentioned earlier, the Creator 5 Pro is ready for ABS out of the box with an acrylic top hat and a chamber heater. The U1 does have a top hat you can buy separately, but currently it's only available for pre-order. Also, I don't have one. I could just declare Flashforge the winner, but that's no fun. Instead, I'm using this DIY enclosure, made from a $7 IKEA storage bin and about 3/4 of a roll of filament. There are loads of different mods available online, but I used this one by Mutz. I chose it because it was simple to print and didn't require disconnecting any of the cables on the tool heads. You just print the parts, slide them together, put them on top of the printer, slide the bin on top, and you're done. Super easy and super cheap too. I'm going to start with a single color test. Another monolith motor mount, but this time at 150% scale. For filament, I'm using Multicolour ABS, which is known for needing pretty decent chamber temps not to warp. It's also my favorite ABS, and back home, it's basically the only ABS that I use. Unsurprisingly, the Creator 5 Pro with its 65-degree chamber handled this part no problem. It did print successfully on the U1, although it has warped just a bit, as you can see. According to the display on the front, the chamber peaked at around 52 or 53 degrees during the print. That sounds a bit optimistic to me, but we'll go with it. Both parts were strong enough that I couldn't break them by hand. Next up, I want to try a multicolor print out of ABS. Tiger designed this tiger, which looks perfect. Something to note about these Multicolour spools is that they don't fit properly on the U1. The inner diameter is too large, and they just fall right off. I had to print a couple of adapters to use them properly. You slide the adapter through the roll, and the adapter goes on the spool holder, and now the roll can't fall off. In terms of print quality, it looks to me like both printers did a fantastic job here as well. Unfortunately, some of the supports did come loose on the print on the U1, which did leave a bit of a mess on the underside of the Tiger. Also, when I tried removing the supports on the tail itself came right off. The layer adhesion of the ABS is really suffering because of the chamber temperature here. Tiger has also printed this model, and according to his slicer, the print was a total of 924 grams, 769 grams of which was purely purge material. Basically, 83% of the filament used for the print goes directly in the garbage, and only 17% is used for the actual model. That's not great. In my case, about 73% of the filament went towards the model itself. At this point, we've covered single color, multicolor, and multi-material printing. I want to end this video off with some larger, more complex prints that really stress test the printers. I'm going to start with this Flexi axolotl, printed in PLA on both printers. This is a 16.5-hour print with 764 tool changes. That's actually fewer tool changes than the Tigers I just printed, but my sister wanted me to print these for her, so I obliged. Overall, both of them turned out pretty nice, but the Creator 5 Pro did have some pretty major stringing. I assumed that my filament had just gotten a bit wet, so I chucked it all in the dryer and printed another axolotl. Lo and behold, the print was still stringy. It looks like Flashforge still has a ways to go with tuning the stock PLA profile. For my last prints, I'm upping the ante a bit with a Flexi Robo Octopus from Matt Meyer Makes, the same person who designed the axolotl from earlier. Printed at 100% scale, this print should take about 40 hours, but I'm not printing it at 100% scale. On the Creator 5 Pro, I am full sending one of these at 200% scale, which should use up most of my remaining ABS. On the U1, I'm going to try one of these at a much more reasonable 225% scale. These are going to take a long time to print, so I'm going to give you some of my final thoughts on these two printers while we wait. To be honest, I think both printers are really quite capable, so there is going to be a bit of nuance in my final recommendation, rather than just saying this one wins. So far, the Snapmaker U1 has been the easiest to use. Between the automatic filament loading and all the automatic calibration, I have never needed to do anything besides just start prints. The print profiles are a bit more refined too. If your goal is just to print stuff and you aren't all that interested in tinkering, then you'll probably have an easier time with the U1. If you're someone like me, who is printing ABS 90% of the time, then the lack of chamber heater on the U1 might just be a deal breaker for you. In that case, the Creator 5 Pro starts to look really, really appealing. A 65-degree chamber is on par with all the other enclosed off-the-shelf printers that you can buy, but you also have the tool changing functionality on top of that. Personally, I also prefer the linear rail on X to the carbon rods. You get all of that for $50 cheaper than the U1. Of course, if you don't care about the enclosure, then you could always get the Creator 5, not the Pro, and save another $150 on top of that. That makes the Flashforge machines pretty appealing to anybody on a budget. There is a very major con with the Flashforge machines that I do need to mention though, and that's the firmware. The Creator 5 Pro, as well as basically all the other Flashforge FDM printers, runs a modified lockdown version of Clipper firmware, and they haven't released the source code. Releasing the source code is a legal obligation of the license, and so far, Flashforge has not complied with that. I reached out to my Flashforge representative about this, and they said that they don't have an official response just yet. They've also asked me, repeatedly, not to mention the firmware in this video. Interesting. If you're curious, here was my response to Flashforge. You can pause the video and give it a read. Personally, I find this behavior really disappointing, especially since Snapmaker has done such a good job working with the community. All of their source code is public, and they've even been donating to the developers of the open source software that the U1 is running. So I'm torn. Purely from a hardware perspective, I do prefer the Flashforge. I genuinely think it could replace every other printer I own. The heated chamber is really just that important to me. At the same time, recommending a printer that is taking from the open source community without giving anything back doesn't sit right with me either. And I know this is an issue that the majority of people probably don't even care about, but as someone who is deeply invested in the open source community, I don't want to let this fly under the radar. Releasing source code isn't optional, it's a legal obligation. Oh man, I've said everything I have to say, and this guy still has about 100 hours of printing left. I'll tell you what, if you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate if you give it a like and maybe even subscribe. Over the next few days, I'll post some YouTube shorts documenting the progress of these two huge prints. Thank you to Flashforge and Snapmaker for sending me these printers. It's been a ton of fun to test them out. And thank you to PCBWay for the financial support on this video. Not taking any money from Flashforge or Snapmaker helps me stay as unbiased as possible when comparing these two printers. I'll see you all in the next video.